Welcome to Houston Real Estate Radio. I'm your host, Shannon Register, and every week we bring you news and information you can use on your next real estate transaction. Today we're going to bring you a legislative update. I've had a lot of consumers ask and request this because they know that I went to Austin for Realtor Rally Day. They know that I do the Hill visits in Washington, D.C. And so I've had a lot of consumers write to me and ask me to do some sort of update. So this is our legislative update from the Capitol since they've wrapped up the 84th legislative session. I've got Debbie Riddle joining me here today. She is from House District 150. It's Northwest Harris County, and we're excited to have her today. She's been on the program before, so this is old hat to her, and she's come in to give us a legislative update. So we appreciate you coming in.
Well, thank you, Shannon. It's really great getting to be here with you and talk about all good things Texas.
We've got a lot of things to talk about.
We do.
So, it's exciting because you were telling me that y'all have like 7,000 bills that are filed every year, and that's a lot of bills to sift through. How do you read through all of those?
Well, reality is you cannot sit down and read through all 7,000. It might be a little more, it might be a little less, but on the average, it's about 7,000 bills filed. Those bills are referred to the various committees, and then the committee chair and then the committee chair determines what bills will be heard in committee.
Okay,
and then we review those bills, we read those bills, go over those bills as we hear them in committee.
Okay.
I sit on calendars, which is one of our committees. It's a very important committee because not a single solitary bill after it comes out of the Senate or after it comes out of committee can go to the floor of the House for debate or vote without coming out of calendars. And so reviewing those bills, and those come kind of fast and furious.
Okay.
And so it takes quite a bit. That's why we've got a very good staff, and that's why I stay up very late at night.
Yeah, so you have to have a good staff to keep up with everything. So on average, about 700 of the bills are actually passed. Is that right?
Correct.
Okay, so, I always say, we kind of need like a little political science class once a year, just as a reminder before we do our Hill visits and our legislative updates, because as a realtor, this isn't my job. I don't do what you do. And so I forget all these things, how this whole process works, just getting reacquainted with it. So remind us, there are some joint resolutions that are passed, and then there are bills that are passed.
Correct.
What's the difference?
Well, a bill is actually part of legislation. That is we have bills that come up, everything from A to Z, and those become part of statute, the laws, the law of the land, if you will. And then a joint resolution, that could be something saying that we're in favor of this, or appreciating someone because they've been married 50 years, or we have many resolutions.
So between the bills that pass and the joint resolutions, there's about, I think there's 1,282.
Correct.
To be exact. That's a lot.
It is a lot.
And so all of that has been approved by the House.
And let me add, we're not Washington, D.C. here in Texas. And isn't that a blessing? We have a citizen legislature. Those of us that serve in the legislature, unlike Washington, D.C., where we do this all day, every day, all the time, and they live in D.C., we actually, here in Texas, our legislative sessions are every other year, every odd year, and for 5 months. And so Texas is about the 12th largest economy in the world. And we deal with that 12th largest economy in the world in our enormously successful state legislatively 5 months every odd year.
So now that you're out of session, what will you do now? You have to campaign, you go and do town hall visits. I know you're active on keeping your constituents up to date on everything that happened legislatively and predicting what's coming next. What else will you do during that time, that year and a half that you have downtime?
Well, I wouldn't call it downtime. For one thing, be with my family.
That's good.
Because all of us in the legislature, we sacrifice time with our family.
Yeah, you do.
My husband and I, we have 10 grandchildren, and so I want to spend a little bit more time with my grandchildren. We went on a 4-day trip around Texas, showing them various historical sites around Texas. But the one thing that doesn't stop, it's 24/7, 365, and that's constituent care. Especially in my District 150, because all of my district is in the unincorporated area of Harris County. That means, Shannon, that my constituents have no mayor, my constituents have no city council, and their county commissioner, Cactus Jack Cagle, as wonderful as he is, and he is great, has 1.2 million constituents. And so we get calls for everything from barking dogs, flooding ditches, to murder. And we've actually had some murder cases. and so we deal with these, it's called constituent care. And those are the things that people call us on with questions, things that they need help on.
Yeah.
A lot of it might be at the federal level. Well, we don't just give them the telephone number to call their congressman.
You handhold them to get them what they need.
We hold their hand, whether it's at the county level or state level, that would include us, or the federal level. We walk through that process with them. And
that's why you've been doing this for so many years. They keep reelecting you because they love that about you. How many years have you been doing this?
I will be going on my 14th year.
14 years. You've been 14 election campaigns. That's a lot.
Well, it's actually 7.
7, okay.
Yeah, I've been elected term. 7 times.
Okay. So that's a lot to go through. Your Debbie Riddle is a very conservative on her principles. Let's talk about some of the legislative issues, some of the things that you guys passed. There have been, they run the gamut. I mean, there are homeowner rights all the way down to gun legislation. I mean, there's all kinds of things. So let's start with the homestead exemption. The homestead exemption was increased this year, and that was a good thing for homeowners. Talk to us about that.
I think the homestead exemption was really important. I think that it was necessary. Did it go far enough? No.
Some people have said it wasn't much. Why bother? It wasn't much. But every little bit counts.
The longest journey begins with a single step.
That's right.
It wasn't as far as I would have liked to have seen it, but we have to start somewhere. And getting legislation passed into law is not necessarily easy. And so sometimes we do have to take the baby steps.
You think that's one that's going to keep coming up year after year, trying to increase it?
You bet.
All right. And next, before we go to a break, margins tax. There was a big tax cut for businesses. You think that's going to help your district?
Absolutely. My district we have a lot of small business owners in my district.
A lot of them.
You're one of them.
I'm one of them.
I am a small business owner, and small business owners, that's the heartbeat of job creation.
Absolutely.
We small business owners, we create a lot of jobs, and we don't need to be punishing through confiscatory taxing. We don't need to be punishing those job creators. We should be rewarding them.
All right, and the Second Amendment, I know you had some effect on the open carry law. Tell us about that real quick.
I'm a big Second Amendment right gal. I got to tell you, I carry all the time. And I think it's important. My protection isn't up to somebody else, it's up to me.
Yeah.
And
it's not up to 911.
It's not up to 911. By the time they get there, it's probably too late.
Yep.
And so being able to have that option, it was really done so if I open my purse and somebody sees my gun, then I don't break a law. Or my husband, if his coat kind of flies open and somebody sees his weapon, then he doesn't break a law. If we want to carry open, we can do it.
Very good. All right. Well, we appreciate you and all that you've been doing. 14 years. That's a long time. Debbie Riddle, Representative Debbie Riddle from House District 150 is joining us today, and we'll be right back here on Houston Real Estate Radio. Like us on Facebook so you can keep getting updates from us. And if you miss any of today's show, you can watch the videos at HoustonRealEstateRadio.com.